Hello, everyone. Welcome to Odder Things, the first segment in a, possible series called Binge Recaps. Since we, watch all Netflix shows in one shot, it's kind of hard to recap them the way that we do like Game of Thrones or American Gods. So this is our live one-shot Stranger Things recap. This is Kimber.
Hi.
I'm Tom. And we're doing it. So we're going to try to spend about a half hour on each 3 parts. So that gives you 3 opportunities to avoid spoilers. One of them being now, because we are going to talk about
episode 1 through 3 now.
Well, everything. But yes, right now, 1 through 3. Then we'll have callers. Then we'll do 4 through 6 callers. Same on. So there's a section that you definitely want to call in. Let me know in the chat. We'll definitely get you in there. And if, excuse me, if we don't have too many people, then we can have multiple callers in for each segment. So just keep in mind that we might only get to be in one. So hi, Ashley.
Okay, yeah. There was a lot of show that happened. We got 9 episodes all at once, and that's a lot to try to cover quickly. So I'm gonna run through these episodes really fast, trying to get as many main points as I can. If I miss anything, feel free to talk about those things to us when you guys call in. So we're going to start out with episode 1, Mad Max. We see an intro that shows us a character who we're introduced to later named Kali. And then we cut straight to the boys at the arcade. They're playing Dragon's Lair, and they start looking around and realizing that somebody named Mad Max is beating all of their top scores, particularly Dustin's top scores. Will has some flashes of the Upside Down. We meet Max and her terrible brother Billy. We also see Bob for the first time, and we see that he is now dating Joyce. I like Bob. He seemed like a good match to her. I'm sure we'll talk about him quite a bit tonight. Hopper is shown a pumpkin patch where the pumpkins are all dying. And Dustin and Lucas try to figure out if Max, who is this new girl at school, is Mad Max. Will goes for tests, and we meet Paul Reiser's character, a doctor named Dr. Owens. We're suspicious of him immediately.
Yeah.
We find out that they're burning the vines to prevent the spread of the Upside Down from the lab. We find out that Hopper now lives with Eleven and is a father figure to her. And we see that Will draws a giant monster, and that's episode 1. Episode 2 was called Trick or Treat Freak, and it was their Halloween episode, one of my favorites of the bunch. 11 wants to trick or treat. She has a cute homemade ghost outfit that's not working for Hopper. He doesn't want to let her out. Then we have the lovely Ghostbusters montage with all the boys taking pictures in their costumes, Mike being my favorite response. Next, we see Joyce trying to figure out what's going on with this drawing. He gave her some sort of excuse about it, that it was just something he was coming up for a story, but she doesn't believe him. And then we have dinner with Barb's parents, where Steve makes us all want to eat some KFC. Steve, best character of the season. Dustin and Lucas talk to Max for the first time and invite her to go trick-or-treating. We start seeing some flashbacks of 11 in the woods, and it's kind of like filling the gaps in for how she ended up with Hopper. We find out not only is that one pumpkin patch dying, all the crops are dying. Jonathan lets Will go trick-or-treating just with the boys. Billy starts to challenge Steve's popularity at school. Nancy gets wasted and breaks Steve's heart horribly.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
You want to party?
We're just gonna party.
Bob asks Joyce to move away with him. Max does show up to go trick-or-treating. And Hopper runs late and buys the kids candy to bribe 11 when he gets home because he knows that she's going to be upset. Will gets scared by bullies, which triggers him and sends him back to the Upside Down, which he does get on videotape somehow. And when he's there, he hears a little chirp in the background. Mike takes him home because he is upset that Max was invited without him being consulted. He misses Elle, obviously. Yeah. Jonathan sees Nancy and Steve fighting at the party and ends up taking her home. Mike has a conversation with Will about how he doesn't like Max, and Hopper comes home. Eleven is pissed off. And at this point, we find out that Mike has called Elle every day since she left, and that that he's being heard by her, and it's really sad because he's like counting the days and everything. Dustin hears a noise. He says, "Holy shit!" And that's the end of the episode. We hear the Ghostbusters theme. Nice, it's pretty funny. What's the chat saying, real quick, before I get on to episode?
We're getting a lot. We have the return of Joe's comment. The only death at that Halloween party was Nancy and Steve's relationship.
Morgan says Team Natalie, which is funny because he called her Natalie on his Purple Dawn show.
I remember. A lot of love for Bob from Shuggy and Joe. Eric's loving Mad Max because of the Ginger support. Nolan asked where Kimber was because he only sees 11. Yeah, that's pretty it. Real quick, I'll give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Eric Monroe, Eric Assemacher just popped in. He's muted though, so he won't know that I'm saying hello to him. Morgan, Ashley, Joe, Nolan, Shuggy, Eric, Tom Zambino popped in and out. He hasn't seen Stranger Things 2, but he came by to give a like. Thank you, Tom. I also saw... Oh my god, this chat's going crazy. What's going on here? All right. I also saw Evan, our new subscriber. Thanks again, Evan, for that. And we're on to episode 3.
Episode 3. And then we will have give people a chance to call and give us their thoughts on episode 1 through 3 before we move on to 4 through 6. Episode 3 was called The POLLYWOG, and Dustin discovers Dart, who seems to be a cute little Pollywog friend who enjoys nougat, particularly. Also one of my top 3, Three Musketeers.
Named D'Artagnan.
Yes, his name is D'Artagnan. They call him Dart. We see the flashback of when Elle actually does link up directly with Hopper. Before, we just saw her like grabbing the waffles and stuff out of the box. And she's still mad at him in the morning in current time, so Hopper bribes her with this crazy like waffle concoction. She wants to see Mike. He says that she'll get to do that soon, and she's like, when is soon? You said soon on this day, and you said soon on that day. What are you going to say on, day 500 or whatever? And that broke me and Tom's heart, because obviously she knew how many days it's been because she's been hearing Mike send her these messages. We get to see Bob and Will bond a little bit. He tells his Mr. Baldo story about standing up to your nightmares. Max starts to ask about the zombie boy rumors and why they call Will that. And they're kind of deflecting her questions at the moment in the show. We see Hopper and Elle's fixing up of the cabin when they were first moving in there, and he explains his 3 rules to her, the don't be stupid rules. And they are, he has a secret knock, he wants the blinds drawn on the window at all times, and that she's not allowed to go out, especially in daytime. Billy is a dick during the basketball game. Nancy and Steve have a fight, and he wants to talk to her about what happened at the party, and that's the tell me you love me scene, and that was heart-wrenching. Again, Steve does not deserve this. Everyone in the party meets D'Artagnan at this point. Bob and Joyce have a lunch together, and he points out that the kids were bullying Will on the tape. Hopper confronts Paul Reiser about the crops. Nancy finds out Steve asked Jonathan to drive her home, so, like, again, Steve being a nice dude, even though he's pissed off, he cares about her and wants her to get home safe. We have a flashback of Hopper reading 11 stories, and she's asking about her mother, and he tells her that she's gone, and she's upset about that. So that at this point, 11 escapes and goes to the school. Joyce watches the tape and sees the monster. They almost make the decision to show their nice teacher Dart, aka Dustin's discovery, but right at the last minute, Mike and Will stop them from doing that. They talk about Will having true sight now that he's come out of the Upside Down. Dustin defends Dart because they realize that he's probably from the Upside Down, but now Dustin's made this connection with him and he doesn't want anything to happen. And then he sheds his skin, it gets bigger, he has like little legs pop out.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really, he's really cute when he's little. Jonathan and Nancy decide to start setting up the lab people. So they start forming a plan for that. Dart escapes. Max confronts Mike about why he doesn't like her. And Elle actually is looking for Mike and sees them and gets jealous and trips her up on her skateboard. And he kind of like senses that she's around, but they don't run into each other because she's upset and she bolted. Will finds Dart, but when he hears Dart scream, it triggers him again into going back into the Upside Down. And while that happens, Dustin grabs Dart and hides him from the group. And okay, so then we get this cool scene with Will, and he tries to stand up to the monster, Mr. Baldo style, like as per Bob the Brain's instructions. And instead of this, you know, having a tropey situation where this totally solves the problem and the monster disappears, it gets sucked into his mouth and nostrils and eyeballs and everywhere in his body. I'm assuming all holes are filled with this horrible.
It was forced down.
It was, yeah, like just terribly everywhere. And that's the end of that episode. So let us know if anybody wants to call in. I cannot talk tonight, you guys. If anybody wants to call in and talk to us about the first 3 episodes of Stranger Things 2.
Well, I mean, you did just reduce like 3 hours of television into 10 minutes, so.
Whew. I worked hard, you guys.
But yeah, as far as the chat goes, as far as Dart, a lot of Gremlins vibes, they're saying.
Yeah, and 11 obviously has lined up with E.T. a lot, and that continues, it feels like, a little bit. All the great references you want. She looks like Baby Ripley to me with the short curly hair. It's like one of my favorite things is that she just looks like a miniature Ripley now, and even like especially with Paul Reiser in this season, you're getting a lot of those vibes as well. Shuggy and Eric Monroe. You might as well take turns because they might be the only 2 who are doing that.
Intermission.
His finger looking good.
Nolan said that he loved the 11 watching Frankenstein in her PJs.
Yes.
I'm humming to myself, but man, that music.
This season?
Oh yeah, this season, as far as the licensed music they got, top notch. Top notch. All right, Eric, I'm gonna go ahead and call Shiggy first, and then once I get your email, I can call you afterwards. Okay, buddy? But you guys will definitely get in for the first 3.
You gotta split that 3 Musketeers now.
You can have it.
Ooh. I feel like Dart. Dustin's teeth. That's a thing I didn't say.
Wow. These pearls.
Who are your guys' favorite at the party? Like, which character is your favorite? Like, I have a hard time deciding between Dustin and Mike because I feel like Mike is similar to me when I was a kid. Like, he really.
Well, in this season, Dustin definitely stepped up and took more of Mike's role. But
he got to have like some bigger moments this time.
He was more of a leader. He was the one who was like, "This is what we gotta do," because Mike was stuck with Will.
Yeah, and he does get a great team up later in the season.
All right, Shug, the invite was sent. While you're looking for that, I am gonna go ahead and call Eric, and we'll make this work. We're just running out of time, so I want to make sure we get everybody in.
I had more notes for some of the episodes than others. So
I agree, Eric. Lucas was better this season. They gave him more to do, and we got to see more of his backstory.
Hey, Eric, how's it going? Buddy. What's up? Yes, I'm still in the bathroom.
I was gonna say, you haven't been there since last night, have you?
Oh no, I got out, but I'm gotta give it the basement like till Monday. I figure by then the yellow jacket will be dead because I know their life cycle. They can't survive any longer than I've found any food and water and stuff. So I should be good by Monday to go back down there.
Well, we'll hope. So, what do you got to say about the first 3 episodes?
I loved the first 3 episodes. And one thing I loved about the first 3 episodes, I really felt like we got to know Will a lot more because I don't feel we got to truly know him that much last season. And I liked his character. I liked Will a lot. I liked learning more about him. And I figured he was going to be seeing visions and all that kind of stuff because after what he went through, it just seemed obvious. I wasn't surprised 11 showed up at the end of the first episode. I figured, I'm like, the season's not going to be a season where she's not on it or hardly on it. I just didn't see that happening. So I thought that was really cool. As I said, I love the Max. I love art. I do want to make a comment on this Barb situation real quick. Justice for Barb. I was never into it, and I was never against it. I was just indifferent. Barb and all that stuff. But I guess I was kind of nice that she was mentioned.
A fellow ginger?
Yeah, I never got into it. I wasn't against it, but I never got into it. Like, you never really saw me hashtag justice for Barb. I don't know. Anyway, good stuff in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to comment on is how good the casting of Will Byers is, because he really looks like he could be Winona's kid. Like, it kills them together. It's really good.
Absolutely spot on. And I like that you mentioned Eleven's Ripley kind of look, and Paul Reiser's character totally in the beginning was giving me a Carter Burke vibe. I was very like, oh, he's coming off to me as that asshole Carter Burke, but good casting though. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I have a weird feeling about Reiser's character. Well, I'll get to that probably at the end but I don't trust him.
I have a question. Were you suspicious of Bob at all?
Never. I was never.
Excuse me, sir. How dare you? That's Samwise Gamgee.
Well,
he has all my trust and love.
It's funny. Evan, or I'm sorry, was
Ethan maybe?
No, I think it was
Evan.
Yeah, there he is. He said that he read, and we saw this in the Beyond Stranger Things recap.
I still have to watch that.
By episode 3, that they were planning on that Will was supposed to be evil Will by then, and then he was going to like kill Bob.
Like Will was going to kill Bob, but they didn't do that
because
obviously.
They loved.
But they liked him.
So much.
Oh, that's really, really interesting. I did not know that. But yeah, I did like his character. But I admit I was a little. Is he a plant? Is he a spy? Or is he just a genuine guy?
Yeah, he's just a sweetheart.
See, now I never thought about that being like a plant that the company put there just so they can monitor them. That would be a cool concept. I didn't think
that's
about
what I was thinking. In the beginning, that's exactly what I was thinking. And as far as Dart, I kind of liked him, and I felt for his cuteness in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning. I wanted one. I wanted my own.
It's only because it was obvious what he was that I was like, I can't get attached to him because he will break my heart.
I loved him. Anyone who knows me well knows that I love frogs, and since he's like a little frog-looking thing, I instantly
amphibian kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
But yeah, I liked the new characters they brought on, like Max. I thought very good casting all around. So I love the first 3 episodes. Good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for calling in. You want to plug anything real quick?
Enough for the plug. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at mmkoch200, and you can find me on OSP on Mondays when you do your shows and all that good stuff. And I can't wait to see everyone else's thoughts. I just want to say real quick, if I don't get to call in for the 7, 8, 9, I just want to say no spoilers, but the end scene of the show now 300 times because it's just so good. I just want to get that in
Yes,
there.
I agree.
All right. Thanks again, Eric. Talk to you soon. Good luck with the yellow jacket.
I know. Better die by Monday.
Better die by Monday. All right, Shogla, whenever you want to call in, go ahead and do that. We got about 6 minutes to wrap up the third portion. Kimber's feeling good about the length of the next couple, so we should be able to get more time for callers.
Yeah, episode 6 goes a little long, but my 4 and 5 breakdowns are pretty short.
Hey, Shug, how's it going?
It's good.
Oh, let me turn
I'm
you
just
up
gonna
real quick.
turn up your volume a little bit on my end.
Sorry.
Can you talk real quick?
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So how's it going? How'd you like Stranger Things?
I loved it. I think this season was even better than the first one. Absolutely loved it to pieces.
Nice. So, did you have any thoughts about these first 3 episodes?
Yeah, the thing I really wanted to talk about with them was Hopper and Eleven's sort of father-daughter relationship, which I think was one of my absolute favorite things throughout the whole season.
For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Hopper in general, I liked a lot more this season. He had a lot more time with the kids, and so to see I don't want to get into it too much later, but him and Mike later on have a discussion, and just how he interacts with all the kids throughout this season is really good. Did you have anything else?
Well, the specific thing that I love was when he came home and tried to bribe her with the candy, really badly. So going, I'll have to eat it all and I might die.
Yeah. I saw him in the Beyond Stranger Things. He was like, that's something that he felt like his dad would do.
Yeah.
So if he felt very much like a dad in that
Great.
moment.
I also thought it was interesting in the first 3 episodes in particular, seeing how these characters' PTSD is affecting them all differently. Because Joyce, she hears the phone ring and she's jumpy, she's nervous. And with Hopper, we saw it kind of manifesting in the way that he was a little bit trigger happy. He was quick to draw a weapon a couple times, and that was really more of a beginning of the show type theme.
Yeah, right before he bought that candy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the kid startled him, and so
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Completely.
All right, well, thank you so much for calling in, Shug. Do you want to tell everyone where they can talk to you on Twitter?
You can find me at Shuggy Says, SHUGGIE Says. And I've got a WordPress site, Facebook page and stuff, so follow me all there.
Cool.
All right. Thanks again, man. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Awesome. All right.
All right, so let's get straight into episodes 4 through 6. If you have not seen episode 4, 5, or 6, now is your time to escape spoilers. And now that we've said that, on to episode 4. This one's called Will the Wise. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did. They put out a promo maybe 6 months ago or something that had the episode titles, and several of them were different than they ended up advertising, and this was one of them. I think the POLLYWOG this was the same, and the Lost Sister was the Lost Brother when they advertised it. The Pumpkin Patch was the name of the Halloween episode instead of Trick or Treat Freak. So they did switch up a bit. Okay, we start out with the episode with Joyce heading to the school because she was told that Will was going to be at AV Club, and when she called the school, they told her that the teacher had already left, so she gets nervous and heads there during this whole looking for Dart situation. They find him in the field, and he's having what they call an episode. he's we know what's happening to him, and we're seeing what's happening to him, but they certainly don't. And this confirmed something that I was wondering, which was, is Will just kind of standing there in a trance when he goes into the Upside Down, or does he physically disappear? And I felt like this kind of confirmed that he was just standing somewhere, and that's why people were able to like snap him out of it a little bit in the early episodes. He wakes up but says he can't remember anything when he's asked. She quizzes him about the drawing that he did, and says that she saw it on the tape, and then he starts to answer her honestly about the things that have been going on. We see 11 have a superpowered tantrum with Hopper wrecking the cabin.
I love that. Her when she threw the door shut and
Yeah.
her little, I still
She's
talk
fancy.
about it.
Nancy and Jonathan start to act out their plan. They had called Barb's parents and had a conversation that they knew would be overheard. They go to meet at a park, and they're kind of surrounded by people. Will is starting to act very strange at this point. We start getting into his sort of possession type exorcist vibe this season. He says stuff like he likes it cold.
Yeah. And I wasn't expecting this, so I really liked what they're doing.
Yeah. So the party meets up. They have a conversation about Will, and they split up to search for Dart. Mike goes to Will's to try to help. Elle is fixing up the cabin, and she finds some files with information about her mother, amongst other things. Nancy and Jonathan meet Dr. Owens, who was Paul Reiser's sketchy doctor, and they tape the conversation with him. Will does a bunch of sketches and drawings, and they're trying to figure out what those mean. Max tells Lucas that she's feeling excluded from the group. It's revealed that Billy doesn't like Lucas. We got racist vibes from Billy's character. The actor has said that he did not feel like the character is racist, but I'm not sure how you're supposed to interpret
Him singling out only Lucas.
Yeah, and like, though you don't want to be friends with those kind of people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the verbiage that he's using is very particular to a racist.
But he
type
says
character.
it's something more evil going on.
Yeah. Has a vision of Mama. Dart sheds his skin again. He escapes and he eats Muse, who is Dustin's cat. Hopper realizes that it's a map that Will is drawing, and he leaves and finds a portal to the Upside Down. Episode 5 is called Dig Dug, and it starts out with Joyce trying to find Hopper. We are let into the thoughts of now memories that Will's having. And they have the super spy conversation that maybe he can help them figure out what the monster wants because he has this connection with it. Nancy and Jonathan are at a hotel, and they have the conversation about why do we only hang out when it's the end of the world? What happened to you? And Jonathan's kind of like, well, I was taking care of Will when he came back. And she was like, I waited. And he was kind of like, not long
really.
enough.
Yeah.
Will has a vision and warns Joyce that Hopper is in danger. Dustin lies to his mom about the cat to get her out of the house, and he gets a little plan and locks up Dart into this kind of like basement celery thing.
Yeah.
Not celery, cellar.
Yeah.
Cellar-like. 11 goes to see Mama, and that's when we get the whole breathe, rainbow, sunflower, 450, 4 to the right, 3 to the left stuff going on. Nancy and Jonathan visit the conspiracy guy. His name is Murray. And they start talking to him about a plan of what they can do with this information that they have on tape. We go to the arcade. Max and Lucas have a conversation. He tells her everything. She doesn't really believe him.
And real quick here, I think Max was kind of like the people who are too cool for Stranger Things in real life. And like she was like, yeah, the story was a little contrived, but I really like that.
Bob helps find Hopper. He figures out that how the map works, and it finds basically the area that they're looking for Hopper in. Dustin can't find help for his Code Red situation.
Weird.
And he ends up teamed up with Steve, which is my favorite part of the whole season. I loved the Steve and Dustin thing. It was just so unexpected, and it was really fun to watch. They were great together.
Yeah.
Murray and Nancy and Jonathan have the water it down conversation where they decide to dilute the information that they have into something that's digestible for the general public. The lab dudes do in fact realize that it's spreading, and they try to figure out how to deal with that. 11 has the mind link with Mama and finds out what all the different words she's saying means. Bob and Joyce get to Hopper just in time to save him. He's like buried in these vines, and they cut him loose and they get him out of there. And they find out that when they cut the vines, that it hurts Will too. So we realize that he has some sort of physical connection with the entities and the vines and the whole Upside Down as a whole, basically. And he kind of has a seizure, and that's where that episode ends. Here's the long one. Episode 6 is called The Spy. We see Will at the doctor's, and Dustin explaining Dart's situation to Steve, kind of simultaneously happening in the show. They go where the Dart's locked up, and Dart has molted again and escaped. There's like a big hole. And Steve kind of picks up the gross skin with like his bat. The lab people ransack Joyce's house and take a bunch of pictures for evidence. And Joyce explains the situation to the doctors, and they kind of accuse her of withholding evidence or her not telling them what's going on, but she's been trying to tell them the whole time that something isn't right. So she is very frustrated, understandably. Nancy and Jonathan celebrate with Murray, the conspiracy guy. They drink vodka and decide to crash there. He calls them out on their romantic feelings, and this leads to them hooking up with each other. Lucas finds out about Dustin's code red finally, and Dustin tells them to go meet at the junkyard. The doctor takes Hopper back into the Upside Down to show him that it is in fact spreading, and that they can't burn it without hurting Will. Joyce tells Bob everything that's going on, and as that happens, Will wakes up, but he doesn't remember who Bob is. So now we're seeing he's having some sort of like memory loss, or he's becoming not himself anymore. Then we have the Nancy and Jonathan, how was the pull-out breakfast? Hilarious.
Oh, the eggs.
Yeah,
oh
the
my
eggs.
God.
Oops.
Oops.
Lucas picks up Max, and they both head to the junkyard. The doctors start talking to Will, and Will says some creepy shit like, you shouldn't have done that, you upset him, which is kind of foreshadowing for stuff that's going to happen. The doctors kind of explain what's going on to him as a virus with a sort of hive mind situation. And Joyce wonders what happens when Will can't remember anything about who he is. Even Dustin lured Dart into a trap while simultaneously talking about girls and getting hair tips.
Yeah, oh man.
Really cute. Best stuff of the season, man.
The railroad scene.
Hopper's trying to get a hold of 11 because she's gone and he's been out doing stuff this whole time. We see brain scans of Will and realize that it's spreading in his head rapidly. Will tells Mike that he knows how to stop the monster. Max and Lucas meet up with Steve and Dustin at the junkyard. Dustin is pissed off that Lucas told her everything because he wanted to tell her too, but he didn't because it's the rule of law.
Well, he was also too busy with Dart, but yes.
It's the rule of law.
That was Lucas's argument, was he was too busy with
rule of law.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And then we get the great line from Steve that says, how come the only one helping me is this random girl?
Yes.
That was hysterical.
Steve was so good this season.
He was, man.
Steve and Bob.
Jonathan and Nancy head back to Joyce's and no one's there. They find the empty Polaroid cartridge, and
one of mine.
Yes, and he knows it's not his, so he realizes something is wrong, and they head towards the lab. The doctor has Will look at the map, and he tells them a place to go. At this time, the gang is reinforcing this old bus at the junkyard, which I kind of felt like had a Mad Maxy kind of influence to it. They send the people to the spot that Will pointed out. The junkyard gang is now looking out for Dart while Lucas and Max are bonding. We get some backstory on Max's history and how she ended up in Hawkins. They see Dart. He's uninterested in the meat, so they send out Steve as human bait. Dustin thinks it's awesome. I tend to agree with him. They hide in the bus, but during this they realize it's not just Dart they're fighting. There's tons of demodogs around. So they all hide in the reinforced bus, and right as like things are going down, all the demodogs suddenly run away in the opposite direction. This freaks them out because they understand that like they didn't just leave to give them a break or give up or get scared away. Like there's obviously a more pressing matter, and that's what they're running towards. So they start to follow that direction. We go back to the dudes who are in the Upside Down and realize that it is in fact a trap, which Mike was trying to warn them about, but it's far too late. And then Will creepily says, "You should go now. They're almost here," and the episode ends. So that's 4 through 6, guys. Who is calling in for 4 through 6?
Let us know. Let us know if you're gonna call in for
The show.
Let us know. Let us know. Somebody text.
Yeah, I heard that.
Who was it?
Not me.
Cow?
Mormo.
It was Mormo. If we're looking for guests for the Mormo Zone this Tuesday. If you're interested, let me know. Cool.
Ashley and Joe said that they're. Yeah, I agree, Megan. Frozen is not the best, man. Like Moana is where it's at.
Make way, make way. It's time for you.
Ashley and Joe said they would.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh,
You're the one who has to go to work, so.
I know. I don't want to. I don't.
You don't have those hopper
I don't
dance
want to
moves.
go. Am I calling Joe or Ashley?
Joe? Question mark?
Moana was better than Wonder Woman. I said it.
True. It's the official opinion of this channel. We were asking, do you want to come in, Morgan? We can do that. Who's coming in?
Whoever clicks that link first can come.
No.
No, Joe, click that link and then we'll do Morgan.
Notes are a little more extensive for the last 3 episodes.
Well, we have 20 minutes to talk before we have to jump to that. So, come on in to the room. You can come into the room.
This is not a musical. Stop.
We should do a musical episode. We'll have to rehearse it.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
I love your shirt.
Thank
You
you.
too.
I wore it especially for your show. I was like, ooh, I gotta change.
Nice.
I'm wearing
That's awesome.
even though it wasn't as featured in this season, at least we got a little mind flare action out of it.
Yeah.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but the episode's in mind flare. Anyway, I'll let
Look, everyone that's here should have already seen it. They know what's coming.
So, what'd you guys think?
I was super jazzed by all the Dustin and Steve action.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, because we were rewatching the first season last night, and just like to go back and see Steve be mean, it's like, but he's gonna be so much better later. And I just love that they continued the character growth instead of going, he's got to reset back to default where he's being a jerk. And
Instead, we get Billy.
Yeah, I loved it because it's kind of common knowledge at this point that the actor who plays Steve, it was supposed to be like a bit of a more minor character, more one-dimensional, just bad guy character, but they were so charmed by him and his performance as Steve that it did allow them to write this character who's now has like easily the best arc of the show within like growth as a human being. And I think that it's so awesome that it's inspired truly by just how that actor made them feel about Steve.
like, we like you too much to let you go. We're going to give you more to do.
Steve is the Vegeta of Stranger Things.
I could see that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A better analogy would be he's the Piccolo of Stranger Things.
Boo.
Because Piccolo was the first kind of like adversary they had that turned ally.
Well, technically that was King Piccolo, a totally different person.
But the Piccolo we have was still Goku's enemy.
Maybe we should just keep talking about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Come on by for our Dragon Ball.
But, was that one of your favorite parts of the team up, or did you have other stuff within these 3 episodes that really stood out to you?
Well, let's see. The team up was like the big one, and also as stated, Justice for Muse.
Oh.
I know, it was so sad, but I mean, you could see it coming with like the way things were going, and he was keeping it, a secret. It wasn't going to end well. I mean, it's got that whole Gremlins vibe, and the Gremlins did bad things when they transformed. So
a Gremlins vibe to it. I fully agree.
It looks like the same cat from Alien too. Right?
Yeah, he says it reminds him of the cat from Alien too. So maybe that's like another little thing. I liked the way. Yeah, that's true. I liked the way they filmed the eating of the cat. It looked really good. They did a really good job.
Yep. And it looked like when Dustin found him, like Dart wasn't like upset or scared or like about to attack Dustin. He was like, "I found dinner."
Like, hi.
Yeah.
I've upgraded to a new food class. Did you know that there's other foods?
You had some of this cat.
Aw.
And then
it's not Dart's fault. Dart didn't know what Dart is.
Yes.
But
I got a lot of Dee Wallace from E.T. vibes from Dustin's mom, like going back to the Halloween, like she's kind of dressed up as like a similar style as her. And then Dustin's dad's not around, so she's a single mom too, trying to raise her son and doesn't always know what's going on, but part of that's Dustin keeping her in the dark.
It's also the 80s. It's just a trope of like 80s kids.
Yeah, I thought that she was really cute, and I loved the chemistry between her and Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin. And one of my favorite little things with her is that he had said like a couple times talking about his teeth, like, "Oh, look at these pearls." And then when she's taking the pictures of him, she's like, "Show me those pearls." And I'm like, that's so cute. Like,
that's also really good. If she is a single mom, that is the kind of relationship they have where they share their own back and forth and stuff. Like, I can relate to that heavily.
Yeah, you could definitely get the feeling that they're very close and that he's really sweet to her. Like, definitely him sending her away to avoid her getting injured by this, by Dart, or to even be just like super upset about the cat felt really like a protective thing from him because he cares about her a lot, you know?
Unlike Mike, who in the first season was like, "Hey, so when the government shows up, screw you guys, we're out of the country."
True story.
It's a totally different dynamic because, like, if you like look at the way like Mike's household is, it's very like you can tell the dad especially grew up heavily in the 1960s and has that kind of, you're the mom, you take care of the kids, I'm going to be over here doing work and also reading the paper, you leave me alone.
And sleeping in my lazy boy and... Oh no.
We froze.
Did we freeze?
Or did they freeze?
Hello?
Oh, you went into the upside down for a second.
Oh no.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, I think the last thing you guys were talking about was the differences between Nancy's family and...
Yeah, heavily influenced by the 60s.
Yeah, where it's very standoffish, and you can tell that Nancy's parents don't have a great relationship, and that the mom is very like annoyed with the dad, and the dad is just like, "What's going on, huh?" I also love the political signs because like in their yard they have the Reagan Bush sign, and in Dustin's yard they have the Mondale Ferraro sign. Yep. So I like that they have those little nods. And there's just so many other little subtle things in this show where it's like, yep, they did a lot of care to make it look like it was actually in the 80s.
Yeah, like the Beyond Stranger Things, they were talking about how like the stuff in Nancy's house is really like modern for the times it is, because it's like obviously they have like a little bit more money, but Joyce's house, for instance, where she's struggling a little bit more, her stuff is all like from like 1975.
She keeps knocking down her walls.
Yeah. Yeah, that attention to detail.
And that was something they talked about when the first, not they, but like there was criticism of the show when the first season came out, was that like Mike has all these toys that he should not have for the era, because it would have been like thousands of dollars to get this kind of stuff. And that's the thing though, Mike's rich.
Yeah,
like
you can tell they have money.
They have, they're the only family that has like a basement that is actually like attached to the house, like has a house entrance, because Dustin's house has a basement, but you have to go outside to get to it. I get the impression like Lucas's family is pretty well off too.
Yeah,
because
that's why they call her the princess at school.
Yeah,
I always felt like because she has money, like even before she was popular, Nancy, they called her the princess. You know?
Yeah, Miss Perfect.
Yep.
Did you see the size of the box of the toys he had to?
Yeah.
Ahead or what?
Because he stole like $4 from Nancy.
Yeah.
He was about to throw that Millennium Falcon. I mean, he probably
was like, no, not the Falcon.
Money.
This is gonna be.
For those He-Mans, they can go.
Yeah, sure. Well, give him to Lucas's sister. She likes him.
Yeah, right.
Nerd.
Which, by the way, Lucas's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great,
she was great.
Great
Perfect.
addition. All right, well, we gotta get Morgan in here before we have to get to part 3. But do you want to plug anything coming up?
We have fan fiction this Sunday that I believe Kimber is involved in.
She is
going on.
Yeah, we'll be fact checking. We know what the BFF is, but we'll be posting a clue to that soon where people can guess and possibly win a cool sticker.
But that'll be sometime in the evening after the fan fiction. And then Monday, I will be hosting a very special Gamer Grudge, the core rulebook edition. And Digital and Dice will be fighting. I have some very interesting questions lined up for them.
We like those guys.
Yeah, they're our favorite. In fact, we're trying to wrap this up so we can send everyone over to their podcast after this. But definitely check out BFF and get involved in their little trivia. And you can win one of these really nice vinyl stickers with their faces on it. And it's vinyl, so you can put it on your car or guitar case or your face.
I need to get one for my laptop. I need to get one for my laptop.
Yeah, everybody wants our face on their stuff, of course. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, I want your face. Kimber suggests using them as pasties. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but we'll let you sit on that, and I'll get Morgan in.
Right.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Good evening.
That was kind of have a great evening. I'm peeling stickers over here and getting all that.
It's my sticker.
I didn't mean to. It was kind of like, ooh. That's how enticing the stickers are. You just want to peel them off right away. I suppose I should actually call Morgan. Call Morgan.
Wanted to call it on the last batch.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I don't know who else was left.
When you were talking about Dustin and his mom's relationship, I really liked what Dustin had to say about, or Gatton, sorry. Gatton had to say about Dustin's character, about how his only reaction with girls is his mom.
Yeah.
And his mom thinks he's so cool that he thinks he's cool. And then so I really like that little development.
I'd love to hear what Morgan thinks about Max, because we haven't talked about her that much, and she was kind of a big part of the season. So
she was. Let
us know what you guys thought about Max in the chat. We'll read them out.
Morgan was -13 in 1983. Morgan, you should have an invite on your. No, that was. I thought it was. What? No, still nothing. I did not prepare. I should have made a bigger coffee.
I also like that last year did have like a Christmas vibe to it, and
this
then
one
was more like a Halloween vibe. Does anyone say anything in the chat?
Everyone's loving Max. Nolan's asking what 80s stars you would want to see in season 3. He really wants to see Robert Englund. I think that'd be an interesting cameo.
That could be cool.
I agree, Megan. Max was it seems like she had to be a defensive person, especially coming from that household. So she does seem to have built a wall around herself. But Lucas makes his way through there, as we will discuss, as we all suspect. I'm sorry. We're.
Your face looks so concerned.
It's just.
Where's Morgan?
I don't know where Morgan is. I don't know, Morgan. Why can't you get in? I'll send you the link, Morgan. Maybe you can bypass the invite. Let's try that. Click on that bad boy. Yeah, I don't get what the appeal of Billy is, Nolan. Like maybe if he had a bag on his face. I just think he kind of looks kind of dumb. Right? Kind of looks kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks dumb.
He's not my type.
He's not my type either. Well, I don't know why it's not letting you in, Morgan. This is very frustrating. He is a Stephen King bully, that is for sure.
Racist and all. I had a fashion mullet. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I definitely had a fashion mullet for like a long time. I think the focus is weird because you did that sticker thing.
Morgan, are you using Firefox? Sorry, bar under us is blasting music.
Because I am going to have to move on to the next segment in a minute.
Yes.
Here. Maybe I read the next episode while we try to get Morgan in.
Oh.
Here he is. Okay, good. Kind of.
He's in the...
Oh, there he is. I see him. Hey.
Jesus Christ.
How is the Upside Down?
Hellish, as you would expect it to be. What is going on?
So,
this has happened twice this week.
It's getting worse.
Everything's getting worse. Apart from Stranger Things.
Get your flame
gets better. There's my segue. Stranger Things gets better in this second season. Well done, Stranger Things.
Did you have anything that stood out to you in these 3 episodes in particular?
I really liked how Bob was developed.
Yes.
Especially, in like episode 4. Was it episode 4 with the where they got Bob in to help with the drawings that Will was doing?
Yeah,
I loved that.
I believe so.
Because Bob is clearly loved solving that whole puzzle. He was just like, oh yeah, this goes there, there, there. And I love that sort of stuff. I feel like if it wasn't so serious a situation, I'd just do something like that for fun. I really liked Bob, though. I thought Bob was
great.
Bob was.
I particularly liked how she didn't want to get him involved, but then he was about to leave because he like showed up with like brain teasers or whatever to be cute because he thinks Will is just like sick with a cold. But he's like, oh, they don't call me Bob the Brain for nothing. And then like she has like the light bulb moment where she's like, oh, maybe he can help, but no questions.
Yeah, I also thought I'm on the side that Hopper was a lot better this season as well. Or at least I preferred him. Maybe that is because he had a lot more to do with the kids, and you got that wonderful father-daughter relationship with 11.
Yeah.
Like Tom said before, I loved when 11 shut that door on his face with just the most aggressive use of the force you've ever seen. But But yeah, I mean, I really sort of like these middle three. We obviously with Will as well. I liked the fact that after the shadow monster thing had gone all up inside him,
Yeah.
which is just lovely, by the way. What a beautiful scene that was. That he starts, forgetting who he is and who people are just a bit. Obviously, that gets a bit worse, but yeah. I really did. I really did like it. And Team Natalie.
I wanted to say about Bob too is that I liked Bob because he filled me with hope, because I thought that he was like so the right kind of person for Joyce. Like after everything she's been through, her ex Lonnie really sucked, and like Bob is everything that Lonnie isn't, and he's just like a real sweet dude, and he's so happy that like she even notices him, and like he loves the kids, and like they have an absentee father, of course, so like I think he was really good for Will in particular. I love Bob. I'm with you. I'm a big fan of that character. I thought he was one of the better additions to the second season.
Yeah, like you said, I love the fact that he was like he had a crush on her in high school.
Yeah.
I love that, and he's just like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm going out with Joyce Byers. This is the best. Like,
yeah, he's so cute. Like he's such a
Bob.
sweet, cute guy.
Yeah. Well, Morgan, did you want to plug anything before we move on to part 3?
I will just say, if any of you do want to hear what I thought about the entire of Stranger Things, to go and watch or go and listen to the latest Horror House over on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at the Purple Dom.
Yeah, and you can get to Morgan's channel by just looking for his purple picture nearby. It's on one of these sides.
Everything's
And
purple.
it's the purple one.
It's the purple.
And Thor came out a little bit early over in the UK, but now that Thor's out, at least almost out, I know people are watching it right now.
Yeah.
Billy and
Hal.
yeah,
Everyone.
So they should go over and watch your Thor review.
Yeah, that was the latest Enlightenment Hour. Was all my thoughts on Ragnarok, because we got it so much earlier than the US did for some reason.
Lucky duck.
Well, we hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was the perfect segue. I'll just leave. I can't beat that.
All right. Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
He's the best.
Yeah, we love Morgan.
All right. What does he mean?
All right. So now we are on to episode 7. So if you haven't seen the last 3 episodes of Stranger Things, now is your time to escape unscathed by spoilers. Episode 7 was probably the most polarizing of the season.
Yeah.
It was called The Lost Sister, and it is actually where my outfit is inspired from tonight, of course. 11 has is still in the flashback of her mom's story, the loop. She comes out of her trance and she tries to explain what she saw to her aunt. And she thinks that her mom wants her to find the girl who was in the rainbow room with her. Her aunt shows her some pictures, and she uses a picture to track down the girl, but then she overhears her aunt on the phone. It sounds extra suspicious, so she decides to get out of there. Oh, the camera fixed itself. Nice. She eventually finds her sister, Callie. Callie shows her powers to Elle. They're different power sets. She can kind of make you see things at her will.
Episode 1.
Yes. And Callie wants her to stay with her band of misfits. They give her a makeover and make her look very punk rock. We find out that Callie has kind of nefarious plans with 11's powers. She hears the message that Hopper was trying to send to her. Then Callie teaches Elle how to enhance her powers using her anger. She shows her pics of some of the bad men. Elle recognizes one and they plan to take him out. There's a shoplifting scene, and then we go to the bad man's house. They do this "do you remember us" thing, and then Callie makes them back into the little girls they were, and then he most definitely remembers them. he kind of like pleads for his life and says that he was just given orders, and the guy, she wants 11 to kill the guy, but the guy starts saying that Brenner, who is Papa, is alive and that he can take them to Brenner, and Callie's like, screw you, dude, she found you, she can find him in the same way. And so she is incapable of killing this dude after she sees pictures of him with his small children, who we find out are in fact in the house and have called the police. They bolt. Callie makes Elle have a vision of Papa. It's really intense. She herself later blindfolds herself and does the whole 9 and sees Hopper and Mike, and they really seem to need her help. The cops show up and ransack the hideout. They use their powers to escape in quite a cool scene, in my opinion, where they like are invisible because she wants them to, and like they kind of team up with their powers. Callie wants her to stay with them, but she decides to leave to go help Mike and Hopper. Callie is sad. There's a lady on the bus that 11 has a conversation with, and she asks her where she's going. She says, I'm going to my friends. I'm going home. And home has certainly been like a theme with 11 recently. She's trying to figure out where her home exactly is. And it feels like in this moment, she's finally decided that her home is with Hopper and with Mike. And that's episode 7. Episode 8 is called The Mind Flayer, and getting back to the D&D roots again, like Tom was talking about. The demo dogs are breaking into the lab. They have to run. Mike wants to sedate Will because he knows that he's a spy. Joyce asks Will who she is, and he responds to her, your mom. And she's like, nope, screw this, you did not pass the test. And they go ahead and sedate him. They run to the surveillance room, and there's a gunfight going on with all the security at the lab, taking out demo dogs left and right. Next, we get a scene with Max's mom and stepdad, and we kind of see that the dad is really awful to Billy, and it shows us a little bit of why Billy acts the way he does, and they send him out to go find Max. The gang is talking about Dart, and Steve tells the whole group that Dart ate Muse, which I don't think he was supposed to do. Lucas then realizes that, of course, Dustin's been hiding Dart, and he gets really upset, and they have an argument, and they both decide that they both broke the rule of law. We hear Demodog screaming, and they run towards it, and Max is kind of like, why are you guys running towards that? The power goes out at the lab, and Bob has to be the one to help because he knows computer stuff. Jonathan and Nancy show up at the lab, but they see that the power is clearly out. They can see from the outside of the building. They hear something in the bushes. They go over, and it's the gang from the junkyard. It's Max, Lucas, Dustin, and Steve. So now they're all back together. They're trying to get the gate to turn on, and Dustin's like jamming the button. And right about then, Bob gets the power back on and opens the gate, and Dustin thinks that he opened the gate, which is really cute. Bob uses the sprinkler system to clear a path for himself, while Paul Reiser helps him guide him back using the surveillance cameras. And Bob makes it back into the room, smiles at Joyce, stays a little too close to the door, and dies horribly right before her eyes in what I think is the most graphic and saddest death so far of the show.
Well, he wanted a good death.
He got one, man.
Yeah.
Like slow motion, just getting chewed up by these demodogs.
There was one cut where he was spitting out blood, but they're like, too much, and they took it out.
They escape because Bob's a goddamn hero. And they all go to Joyce's house, and Hopper starts trying to call for help.
Yeah.
The kids have a conversation about how Bob was the original founder of the Hawkins AV Club and that he can't die for nothing. And this is when they come up with the whole, it's like a mind flayer situation. Mike wants to ask Will what to do, but they worry about him being able to spy for the monster. So they disguise this room and they put him in there. And Nancy has a conversation thanking Steve for watching the kids. which was a quite good conversation. I think he said like he was a shitty boyfriend, but he was a damn good babysitter. Dustin and Lucas apologize, and Dustin calls Max Lucas's girlfriend. He denies it, but Dustin says that he felt the electricity between them, which ties back into a conversation that he had had earlier with Steve. So he's starting to understand love a little more. Mike tells Max that just because she knows the truth of the group doesn't make her a part of the team. He talks to her a little bit about 11. Will wakes up. He's pissed off that he is tied up. He just keeps asking them, "Where am I? Where am I?" They start telling him personal stories to try to keep Will kind of attached to them and not lose him completely. Some of them are heart-wrenching, like when Mike started with his story about meeting, like becoming friends with him. Like I was all tears. And Hopper realizes that even though he's not responding to them verbally as himself, he is tapping out Morse code, and he writes "here." So then they start playing his favorite song, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" And they start telling him more stories, and he taps out "closed
D&D
gate"
sessions and stuff like that. So it's really cool. Yeah, closed gate is what he spells.
So then, unfortunately, as they're getting this information, the phone rings and their cover is blown, and he knows exactly where he is, and we see him kind of go into a trance again, and the Demodogs are coming. They all arm themselves, they get ready, and they hear like a commotion outside, and then a Demodog just corpse flies through the window, and 11 enters the house. She has returned.
The look on Mike's face. Oh
Yeah,
my
man.
God. Let me tell you, I came home from work. Kimber had fallen asleep on the couch while watching Stranger Things and rewatching. And so I sent her to bed, and I was laying on the couch winding down from work, and I just looked at the TV. It was this part, and my eyes welled up with tears, and I had only watched like 20 seconds of the show. It's good writing.
Okay, episode 9, The Gate, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get that through this as fast as I can, so we do have a little bit of time for callers, but it is a lot of show. This episode's a little dense, so stay with me. 11 and Mike hug. That he called her every day. She knows it's day 353. Again, ripping our hearts out with that. Hopper admits that he wouldn't let her call. Mike is pissed off and tries to punch him. They have to go to a separate room and have a private conversation. 11 says hi to all the boys. She says hi to Joyce. She basically says hi to everybody, but she blows off Max.
I would too.
She wants to see Will, which is interesting to us because they've actually never met before. Will is asleep at this time. And they ask 11 if she is capable of closing the gate. We have the Nancy's mom and Billy scene, which I'm sure we'll talk about when someone calls in. And they start forming a plan to close the gate. Joyce decides that her role is that she wants to make Will an uninhabitable host because it seems like they've been doing everything that this thing has wanted them to do. So Nancy and Steve talk a little bit, and they all start breaking off into their separate ways. Elle and Mike say goodbye to each other, and she promises that she'll be back, and they almost kiss, but Hopper interrupts it. And they leave to head to the lab. On the way to the lab, they have a conversation about where she's been. They both apologize to each other. He refers to himself as a black hole and tells her the story about his daughter. Steve and the kids form a plan to go to the hole to cause a distraction. While Elle is getting down there to close the gate, Steve is reluctant. Billy shows up and attacks Lucas and fights Steve. Steve gets his butt kicked, but Matt drugs Billy and threatens his crotch with a baseball bat. Joyce, Nancy, and Jonathan take Will to the cabin and use heaters to try to sweat the demon out. She wants my coffee. I have to get rid of this cat. Sweat the demon out. Hopper and Elle arrive at the lab. Steve wakes up in Billy's stolen car with Max at the wheel. He is full of anxiety and not having a good time. The kids head to the Upside Down with Steve. Hopper finds Paul Reiser and makes a deal with him that he'll help 11 have like a normal life once they get out. I wrote a butthole on the roof spits in Dustin's face, and he screams, and it's
in my mouth.
It's really funny. They find the hub and they start to drench it with some sort of flammable liquid. This cat has distracted me so much.
Elise says you look amazing.
Thank you, Elise. Will gets a last burst of strength, and we see that it's starting to leave him because they're now torching this spot. And so Nancy picks up a hot poker and burns Will on the side, and this forces the demon out of him. I'm gonna call it a demon. It's like a monster in the show, but
They should have just spoke Latin.
it's very Exorcist.
No, it
vibe.
does feel that way. Such like body snatchers, kind of.
Hopper gets the message from Jonathan to close the gate, and the kids are trying to leave the upside down after torching it, but they run into Dart on the way. Dustin and Dart have a nice moment together. He distracts him with the nougat, and he gets to say goodbye, and everyone passes.
Yeah.
Elle starts closing the gate, and it's impressive.
She goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah, it's like some Phoenix shit or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And the gang gets out basically as the gate is getting closed. Barb gets a funeral, and her death is huge news because of this information that Nancy and Jonathan leaked. So there's the justice for Barb. Paul Reiser ends up giving Hopper a birth certificate for 11, but tells her to lay low. And he's like, well, what about one night? And then we go...
What could possibly be important for one night?
Then
I'll tell you what.
Then we go to Joyce teaching Will how to dance. Steve drives Dustin to the dance and gives him some advice, and he's got his hair done. Hair advice. Lucas dances with Max. A girl asks Will to dance. Dustin asks a girl to dance and gets turned down. In the saddest scene other than Bob's death, we see Dustin sitting alone crying, and it is so heart-wrenching. And Nancy sees him and asks him to dance, and that's really sweet.
Of course, that gets all the girls talking.
Yeah. She gives him some relationship advice, like, oh, girls are stupid when they're our age. Like, you've always been my favorite. You're going to do much better when, you know, they wisen up in a few years. Joyce and Hopper have a nice scene sharing a smoke outside, just like the good old days.
She told Will that she would go away. But
Yeah,
she's
give
just
him
out in
some
the parking
space.
lot.
Yeah. 11 shows up. It's beautiful. Her and Mike dance together. Lucas and Max kiss. Elle and Mike kiss. And then we see the outside of the school. It turns upside down and gets creepy.
I'll be watching you.
We see the big monster still there, and the credits roll. And that is season 2 of Stranger Things.
Yeah. Man, so good.
Get Nolan right in here. Thank you for listening to me get all that information out. It felt like I was talking for days, but
You did good.
I tried not to skip over too much, but get the main points in there at least.
Nolan, invite sent.
Dustin crying is the saddest. It hurts me so bad. Like,
It was
I was a
good.
mess the whole
The
last
fact
episode.
that the snowball was there at all, and I was like, what the setup was, what can be so important, and then snowball, and I'm like, oh my god, Elle can finally go. Like, I was beyond happy.
Yeah, there's lots of people who are shipping Joyce and Hopper. I think they're calling it Jopper online.
While we're waiting for Morgan, what are your season 3 predictions? We want to know. We know it's going to take place in high school, so Steve's going to be out in college.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy, I assume, is going to be out in college. So,
Eric says he likes 11 noticing Dustin's teeth. Hey, buddy,
Hey,
how
guys.
you doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you guys doing?
good. So, tell what was your favorite part of this chunk?
Weirdly enough, I think this goes to show just the kind of things I look for in stories based on what other people do. Episode 7 was my favorite of this season because I felt like I really got to know 11 after seeing all those choices that she had to make, and you can always tell what a good character is when they make the right choice. And for me, that absolutely nailed with that episode. But I could have done without the 80s Jared Leto guy.
Oh no. So you love Steve then, right? Because he's been making all the good decisions.
I adore Steve, and I shouldn't adore Steve, but I do adore Steve.
I made a post on my Twitter about how Steve's, I don't know how they did it, but Steve's my favorite character now, and I literally got way more likes than I ever have on a post on Twitter. I got like 260 likes and counting. It was so crazy. So like the Steve love is palpable. Everybody loves Steve now.
Even Dustin does. Like, you notice his hairstyle was kind of like Steve's at the ball.
Yeah, he's learning a lot from Steve.
It's like a big brother relationship.
But I liked the sort of, like, they talked about it in Beyond Stranger Things, but I liked the sort of realization that Dustin had that, like, he's getting this advice from Steve, but at the end of the day, he's not Steve, and it's not going to work the same for him. I thought that those two characters together was kind of a stroke of genius. I would not have thought about that myself, so I really appreciated them too.
Hey, Nolan.
Yo.
Do you think Owens is Brenner? Because I think Owens is Brenner.
It's possible. I'll give you that.
I think Owens is Brenner. I don't trust him. What about 8 and 9? Anything stand out from you in the end?
What episode 9? You said, sorry.
8 or 9, either one.
One thing that really stood out to me, it was so satisfying seeing Steve kick Billy's ass.
Did he? Did he?
Yeah, he
Kind
really
of. He did try, but then
he always gets his ass kicked.
Then Max stood up for them, and that was really cool.
Yeah, Max did more damage, I think, at least to his psyche than Steve did with his fists.
Yeah, but Steve was like so determined to defend him, and that just shows how great a character he was.
Go ahead.
I did like Billy's train of thought though, when he's like, "Why are you hiding the fact that my sister's here? Like, this is creepy."
Yeah, he's not wrong. I wanted to talk about a Chekhov's gun that did not pay off in this season that I'm surprised about, and I wanted to know if you guys think it's going to be something for next season. But they went very seriously into letting us know that there was this tripwire in front of the cabin, and then they did not do anything with it. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that that was just like something that they decided not to use, or like a red herring that, mislead us, or what were they doing with that? Is that going to come into play later?
I say red herring because even in the trailers they made it look like the big smoke monster was going to be the big bad this season, and it wasn't. So I don't know, that could come into play later.
Cool.
For sure. I did want to say one more thing about this chunk. When we noticed all of the dogs and stuff falling because they closed the gate and everything, we got to see that Dart was still with the Three Musketeers bar. He never, when all the other dogs ran past Dustin and those kids, which was an amazing scene.
Yeah, that was really
it felt
cool.
like there was a lot of moments that felt like Jurassic Park, especially the Bob moments. But to see he was still there, he didn't get called back to the hive mind. I like that they didn't turn him into like a good guy Demogorgon, but they did give him like enough, I don't know,
closure.
Yeah, I guess that like we cared about him. Like, they're gonna definitely sell Dart merch.
Oh yeah, there will be Funko Pops of all the Darts.
We just saw a David S. Pumpkins Funko Pop that is on our list.
Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday.
All right, Nolan. Well, did you want to plug anything before you have to go?
Well, keeping it in the spooky horror theme, I just released my latest video essay on Nosferatu, and honestly, I'm quite surprised at the response it's getting, because I thought like barely anybody was going to watch it, and it's nearly at 100 views in like 3 days. So go check that out on my channel.
Great. Cool. And you can find Nolan's channel by looking at one of the many faces and links nearby. It's probably near that purple Dawn guy. But thanks, Nolan. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. See you guys later.
That's a cool shirt. You can also see Nolan as the companion on Kimber's show, Space Time Rewind, here on Odd Shape Channel.
True story. Hi, Raul.
Raul's got 5 minutes. We got about, I didn't see anyone else wanting to call in for.
You want to get Raul in really quick? If we missed you and you want to call in, let us know in the chat. Last call for callers. I do know the Digital and Dice already started. So.
They usually have 15-minute of intermission music. Okay. Yeah. They usually start right on the dot.
So let's send Raul an invite and see if he has any comments for this season. it was really great. My only complaint is that we're going to have to wait so long for the next season. I was really worried about like the sophomore curse. There are a lot of great shows that have amazing first seasons and then don't know what to do in the second season, but I thought they stepped it up a lot, and I was super interested, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do next. I saw some chat about like, well, what are they going to do, because they've done all these things, but they have amazing characters established, and really that's all you need to have a good show.
Someone did say that Jonathan may not be coming back.
Yeah, because of his cocaine thing, but that's fine, because that maybe our boy Steve.
His nose didn't even bleed in the show, though. It doesn't even match canon. But I think I was saying I want to see Steve and 8 have a relationship together. #state.
Oh my gosh. Her name is Callie.
Fine, Stally. Or Heave? No, Stally. Ba-da. Raul, I need your email. No, I need your email, buddy. Google doesn't like any of us anymore, so it doesn't save the emails. Maybe I should just open up a notepad document from now on. Someone remind me in the chat next live show to save the emails. To remind me, oh, our Facebook page. We just got to talk about our Facebook page, the one that we never use, but we're trying to get better at that. Talking about picking some clips and putting them on Facebook. So if you have some favorite moments from Odd Shape Channel, anything, let us know, and tweet it at us at Odd Shape Panel, and maybe we can get one of those videos up. We already have a couple in mind. Obviously, the Jurassic Park from well, it's technically a Morgan video, so I'm not gonna steal that. But there's plenty we could use. Oh, I wasn't gonna ruin it, but yeah. And speaking, thanks everyone for the great turnout last night on Encrypted Encounters. That was our first call-in like first-person encounter video, and I thought it went really well. Everyone seemed to have a really great time, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on this channel, and if you like what you like, or if you like what you see,
hello.
Right. Our man on the street and also our patron producer, Raul. How's it going, buddy?
Fine. I have been really busy, and so.
Oh no, he's in the upside down.
Finally, my phone let me like tune in, and so I just like to quick.
Oh no.
So I made it for the Stranger Things recap.
Well, you are breaking up. You may want to stand still once you find a good signal. But what was your favorite moment from the season?
My favorite moment of the season. I really like Dustin and Dar's relationship. And the thing that I didn't like this till the last episode.
You didn't like the last episode?
No, I liked the last episode. I didn't like that 11 and the kiss.
Ah.
That's the thing that I didn't like.
Don't hate on Mike, man.
No, I'm saying that I didn't like that 11 had like her side story, and also all the kids had all their stories. I thought that 11 was gonna show up with all of the kids by episode 5 or 6. But still, I really like the season. I still prefer season 1 over season 2.
I mean, I think they were both great. I have a hard time saying I liked either season better. I think they were both.
I just like Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things is just really good.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I didn't like season 2. I really like it, but I would have loved to see more about the monster, because I thought they were gonna see more about the giant monster. But I still really like every single character. I hated the blue Power Ranger guy, the evil guy.
Billy?
Yeah, that guy. I really hated him. I thought one of my theories, like around episode 5 or 6, I thought that Billy raped or molested Max. The way that he treated her.
I have a feeling there's some kind of abusive undertone there. I don't know if it is that extreme, but he was like, that wasn't written in some of the stuff they showed in Beyond Stranger Things, like Max, and she would put her hand up and Billy would grab her hand really.
Said,
Mhm.
know what happens when I get mad?
I break things. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I
so
think there's something.
And also I really like that. I like everything. I was expecting at the dance scene, the final scene, before they revealed the upside down with the small monster. I thought that was a dream. I thought that the whole dancing was a dream, and the reveal was going to be that they're all trapped in the upside down. I thought that was going to be the cliffhanger. That's the other thing that I didn't like much of the finale, that they closed a lot of storylines really well, like in a nice bow. I thought it was going to be like a more darker, but still, I really like the season.
Yeah, I think they had the last season was so open-ended to do it, and there is going to be a time skip to where they are a little bit older in high school to make it feel like there's nothing going on in that period of time. There should be no reason why we're watching them, kind of thing. So I can kind of see that. For
And
calling us,
also,
Raul.
and also the last thing, that guy making Jonathan and Nancy hook up, that will be me, because I'm a Jancy shipper since season 1, and so I will be like, also kiss, go. That's the vet. There's the condoms. Go ahead, do everything. I will be
Well, they are minors, so that's a little weird. But
Tom, it was the 80s. It's okay.
Was it? That's probably why I'm around, so I'm not going to... Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Overall, this was a great season. 9 out of 10.
Well, yeah.
Season 1, but it was a great season.
I definitely agree. And Raul, where can people talk to you / find you real quick?
You can find me on Twitter, Raul Beto RDC, and also if Tom will put out a link of the podcast that I record with Troy Loxton of the Monday Show. We do it every Sunday. We didn't do an episode this last Sunday because he's finishing his movie, but I think that this Sunday we're gonna make a new episode.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Raul.
Well, thank you guys. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye. It's always great to see Raul, and he's having a great time. Check out his Twitter. He's always doing something. So it is 9:30. I'm going to go ahead and post the link to Digital and Dice's. Oh, God, I didn't save it. 1 second. While we're talking, Kimber's going to say goodbye and everything. Kimber, what's going on?
I don't know. You put me on the spot here.
Kimber, what do we have upcoming?
I have this Sunday. I am a busy lady. I have fan fiction going on against Jonathan Youngblood and Garrett McDowell with guest judge Alicia Malone on the Tough channel. A little bit later in the day, I'm going on Cars and Popcorn, which is Tom Zambino's show, and we're going to be talking about the Muppets movie and Fozzie Bear's Studebaker. So you can catch me there. And then next week we have the normal schedule.
Yeah, we got Mormo Zone. We got Encrypted. We'll be talking about the Phantom known as the White Lady. And maybe some more stuff. Animal Crossing Let's Plays, Pokemon Let's Plays. We're going to wrap it up. You can find me at OddShapePanel on Twitter.
You can find me at Kimberbatch_OSP.
And I'm posting Digital and Dice's podcast that's currently airing right now in the link. Please go check them out. Tell them we sent you. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. They're great guys, and you'll be able to see them on Gamer Grudge, which is mentioned before. Joe's going to be hosting that episode, and that's over on the Game Fixers Network. It's another one of those little things on the side of our page. So go check that out. Thank you so much, everyone. This was a lot of fun, and have a great night.
Bye.
I thought you were going to 11 it away. Oh, no!